what has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado. It wasn't just a big night of fight. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry. Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, what a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Perry on the top. Right hand from Perry. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Hour number 2 is officially underway right here on the early line. It's a Wednesday morning. It's September 4th, 2024, roughly 24 hours away from opening night in the NFL ring ceremony. We'll see the trophy, we'll see the pageantry, and then we should be able to see a great football game, and we are going to get you set for that. But it's Dubs and Donnie in the morning having some fun. The hours go by quickly here. We got an action-packed hour number 2 here for the people, Dubsy.
We're jumping into a little baseball, 15-game slate out on the diamond. You highlighted Thursday night football. Will we see Tay over there at Arrowhead? I certainly hope not. College football continues. Dog days of summer, that's in the rear vision mirror now, Donnie. It is absolutely full dial, full steam, fifth gear on a Wednesday, and hopefully we can try and find a couple of winning tickets as we move through it.
And I always say, too, Dubsy, like most sports do well when they open up the season and say, you know what, let's give the people what they want. Let's give them primetime games, compelling matchups here. Let's not just say, oh, you know what, let's put one of the bottom feeders on TV. Let's give 2 good football teams. You're going to see that Thursday. You know what else you're going to see? Friday night as well in Sao Paulo, Brazil, with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Packers. We already told you again, Sunday night football, Matthew Stafford returns home to take on the Lions. And you got that Monday night football game, fantastic, with the Jets and the 49ers. But if we are looking at the AFC, which will be on display opening night in Arrowhead, that's between the Ravens and that's between the Kansas City Chiefs. Last time we saw them, AFC Championship game last year, which I am still upset about because I had the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl last season. It was set up perfectly. They were the best team in the NFL to me. If Dubsy, they just stuck to the script that got them there. Yes, we know Lamar Jackson can pass, but that team was so dominant on the ground and completely turned one-dimensional for no reason in the AFC Championship game. We'll see if they make those adjustments heading into Arrowhead tomorrow. But if we are looking at the AFC Championship odds here for 2024, it's no surprise. The same 2 teams we saw last year fighting it out for the AFC supremacy and the right to go to the Super Bowl, they're right back in it. The Chiefs at a plus 350 price, the Ravens at a plus 550. Let's just start with those top 2 teams here. Number 1, Dubsy, do you believe they deserve to be the top 2 teams in the AFC? And also, the winner of tomorrow night's game, getting that leg up on the competition with the tiebreaker, that could be massive.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive advantage. And we know the Kansas City Chiefs come to play when they're at home. We know they come to play in that season opener. Head coach Andy Reid there for the Chiefs. 9-1 straight up in the last 10 there for Kansas City. And look, is it redemption? Is it a revenge spot for the Ravens? Donnie, it sounds like you think it may be. How's it going to look in that backfield? You know, King Henry comes across. He'll take the running back duties away from Gus Edwards. And, Lamar Jackson, say what you want. He had an MVP season. There's always going to be the knocks. What's it going to look like in the playoffs? Why can he not figure it out going against the Chiefs? A 1-4 straight up record. But I do think this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I don't think we see the points expected, but certainly for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes getting arguably maybe the best set of complements, complementary wide receivers and weapons that he's had to work with. They've got to get better with the drop balls. Xavier Worthy, he looks to be a fantastic addition, Donnie. I think he's going to see plenty of production day one. And Travis Kelce is telling us, hey, I don't want to see a drop-off in the targets or the looks I'm getting. I don't care if I might be getting to the tail end of this career. So the Kansas City Chiefs will come up. They'll be ready to play. And we know they've got that experience, that X factor when it matters most. So absolutely, I agree with the odds makers. They are the team to beat. For the Ravens, a couple of question marks. I feel like that's the common theme with the AFC, Donnie. The Buffalo Bills, they're being a little disrespected. The Miami Dolphins, can they play in, I guess, not so fair weather? You've got teams like the Texans, CJ Stroud, the sophomore slump, Matty Stafford, Sean McVay, and that high-octane offense coming out from the Rams. So the AFC, a little murky, but no doubt about it, it should be the Kansas City Chiefs as the shortest price and the team to beat, saying, come catch us.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And again, I love the fact that they're going to play opening night because that might set the tone for the remaining parts of the season, which again, if there is a tiebreaker at the end and the Chiefs and the Ravens have identical records, the winner of that football game is going to get home field advantage. I thought that was massive last year. Finally getting Kansas City out of Arrowhead and into another, it didn't matter. They went into Buffalo and won. They went into, obviously, Baltimore and won. And then they went into Las Vegas and won a championship last year. So they know how to put it together. And as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, that's going to make a big difference. But also, for me, Dubsy, like first 2 weeks of the season, very tough on sides. You're going to see a lot of upsets, a lot of, I didn't expect that from this team. And we understand that. But you know what I'd like to hear? Like Lamar Jackson, obviously, the most dynamic quarterback by a wide margin in the NFL. You're telling me he lost a couple pounds in the offseason to get quicker here? I look right to those rushing props on opening night, and it should be a fun matchup. But again, we have a long time to preview that game up till tomorrow night, but I'm getting excited just talking about it here with some of the leaders in the AFC. Let's take a look at the not two top teams right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook here to win the AFC. The second two teams, that's the Bengals and that's the Texans. I want to focus here, Dubsy, with you right now on the Bengals at that plus 750 price, because if anybody's listened to me throughout the offseason, I can't stand the way the Cincinnati Bengals treat their players and, quite frankly, their fan base. Jamar Chase should be signed to one of the most lucrative deals in NFL history at the wide receiver position. They haven't done so yet, and there's question marks if he even plays this Sunday against the New England Patriots. But I do believe if they sign him and he's happy, and T. Higgins, who took one of the worst deals in the history of the sport by taking that franchise tag, apparently he's happy, so we can just move forward with that. I do think big things are in store with the Bengals, but only if they sign Jamar Chase to that monster deal. What do you think about the Bengals here for 2024, Dubs?
I like the Bengals. I think it's going to be dependent on star quarterback Joe Burrow. Didn't get to see a lot of him out there last year. I consider Joe Burrow, if we get the same version from 2 seasons ago, of being a top 5 quarterback in this league. But I totally agree. For head coach Zach Taylor, he needs the full complement of weapons out there in the mix. You welcome in Mike Gesicki at tight end. He's probably going to get a couple of looks. There's no Joe Mixon setting the table. Zach Moss. You really don't lose anything, gain anything at the running back position. But they're going to need Joe Burrow out there to absolutely carry this thing. They take on the Pats in week 1. They go into Arrowhead week 2 to take on Kansas City. And that's the Commanders, Panthers, and Baltimore. So look, they should go through 2-2 to start the first 4. It's not an easy schedule. It's not a tough schedule. But for me, it is all going to be about Joe Burrow. What version of Joey B, Joe Shiesty, do we get that's going to lean on Cincinnati? Can he take him back to the promised land? I tell you what, you need everything working in your favor right now. They need to get Jamar Chase moving in the right direction. Speaking of moving, you got to put the question mark. Have the reps been in there looking into week 1 if he is going to suit up?
And you take a look at the way the normal NFL week works here, and this is why I'm bringing up Jamar Chase. Like Mondays on game week, usually played on Sunday, you're coming in just getting some treatment here. Tuesday, the players have off. Wednesday, Dubsy, that's installation day in the NFL for your weekly game coming up on Sunday to get that game plan together. If Jamar Chase is not going to be a part of that practice in the installation process, that could hurt towards Sunday. Then we take a look at the Texans at an 8-1 price, the Jets plus 850, the Bills at 9-1. This is an action-packed AFC. If we take out the top two teams, who do you think has the best chance to knock off the Chiefs and the Ravens here, Dubsy, in the AFC?
Miami Dolphins at 10-1, still 22-1 in the futures. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you score the most points out of any team in the NFL, you got a really good chance of winning a lot of football games. I think they only learn from what we saw at the back end there of last year. You look at Tua, there was still plenty of turnovers, 26 turnovers for Tua. If we can just see that number, see a bit of a decline, a bit more improvement in that spot, I think the Miami Dolphins are going to shine again. You've got Tyreek Hill. I don't think there's any drop-off from star wide receiver. You've got Waddle on the other side. They can set the table with that run game. They're going to put up 30, 40, 40-plus week in, week out going through the regular season, and they've got weapons across the board. So I think it'd be the Miami Dolphins sitting at a nice price of 10-1 to rattle the top two contenders.
Going to be fun watching that East play out. You got the Jets here trying to make some noise. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is healthy throughout the parts of the season. And also, you take a look at the Buffalo Bills. Everybody's so high on the Bills, Dubsy, the past 2 to 3 years, not really getting that feeling this year. So maybe a chip on their shoulder. Maybe they're just not as good as what they were over the past couple years. But I love to see this play out. We're so close to NFL action being played. Game number 1 tomorrow night, but some news and notes coming out here of Philadelphia on their game on Friday night. Devin White, not on the plane to Brazil, ankle injury going to keep him out. That's what the SportsGrid Network does. Instant impact news that comes across, we're going to make sure we deliver it to you. It's Dubs and Donnie in the morning right here on a Wednesday edition of The Early Line. Much more AFC talk coming up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's like it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Yes, a better plan of attack here on the early line. We just talked some AFC futures here. Why don't we just swing it right over to the NFC? And it was a perfect segue over because the NFC is going to get kicked off underway on Friday night in Brazil between the Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. And brought you that information, Devin White, supposed to be a starting linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, acquired in the offseason via free agency. Now looks like he's going to miss game number 1 with an ankle sprain. Nakobe Dean will take his spot in that starting lineup. We'll see how the Philadelphia Eagles do. But this is a massive game. And here's how I want to start this, Dubsy. Sometimes I get angry because there's a lot of things I typically do when I see these schedules that come out. It's like, let me check to see who's playing that Thursday night football game. Is it home or away? Because that is a major advantage. But now that we have the uneven scheduling, which means you have 17 games as opposed to 16. What did that mean in the past, Dubs, right? 8 home games, 8 away games. It's pretty simple. But now you have a distinct advantage on your schedule if you have that 9th game at home as opposed to the 8 road games. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles were scheduled to have the Green Bay Packers play at Lincoln Financial Field this year. So the NFL goes, you know what? We're going to Brazil. We need a big game. Philadelphia, you lose a home game, and the Packers fans had to rejoice, and the Packers players like, oh, good. We don't have to play in Philadelphia. We're going to play on a neutral site. That's a big advantage here. But again, as I digress, there's other games that are going to be played this weekend in the NFC. That's just the first one. If we are looking at the odds, Dubs, to win the NFC Championship this year, it's not a surprise. It's the San Francisco 49ers at a plus 260 price at the FanDuel Sportsbook, followed by the Lions at a 5-1 price and the Eagles at a 6-1 number. Let's just sit it there. The 49ers, number 1. I think we agree, pound for pound, they're the best team in the NFC. But how about 2 and 3, the Lions and the Eagles? Do you agree the Lions now sit ahead of the Eagles at the FanDuel Sportsbook with the odds?
Yeah, I do. And, based off the way last season finished out, there's a lot of bettors buying in on Detroit. It's Dan Campbell. I feel like they're the buzz team. Jared Goff, he's putting up career numbers. They've got one of the best wide receivers in the business, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I like the look. The Detroit Lions, can they take another step forward? I don't know. I would make the argument that maybe we saw the top expectations from the Lions last year at 5-1. For the Philadelphia Eagles, there's been a lot of pressure going through the offseason. There's new faces in new places. For Nick Sirianni, he's going to have to try and figure things out. There's been a lot of smoke that maybe there was a rift in the locker room between him and star quarterback Jalen Hurts. I'm not buying in on that side of things. I think that could be the value spot on this side of the board. Jalen Hurts, I think, is a fantastic quarterback. I think now that he's back, he's healthy. I think we see the return of the run game. Speaking of run game, Saquon Barkley comes across to lead the backfield. They've got the best 1-2 punch. If you look at any of the wide receivers tandems in the National Football League, it's got to be the Philadelphia Eagles. So sitting there at plus 600, I think that's a really good spot. For the 49ers and the Lions up top, Donnie, I don't know if we see a massive step forward. I think we've seen the best there last season, and they're going to have a really tough time of trying to run it back. So if you're looking at where the value is on this board, I'd start with the Eagles at plus 600, and I'd look towards their foes they're going to match up with on Friday night in Brazil. I absolutely love Jordan Love and the Packers, one of the youngest teams coming into the league. I do think we see a bit more improvement coming back from them.
And we'll get those big dog prices here in just a couple moments and see who actually can make some serious money in the NFC down at the bottom. But I do like the way it sets up at the top. There's a lot of parity because the one thing that we do know is injuries do happen throughout an NFL season. And we wish it was like Madden, right? You just say, you know what, let me play this game. I'm going to turn injuries off because it'd be much more enjoyable from a fantasy and betting perspective throughout the season if nobody ever got injured and they were always healthy. But we know that plays into it. I think you bring up a good point because for me, the Lions, they have a fantastic offense, Stubbs. You're looking at the best offensive line in football, one of the best offensive coordinators calling the plays. Jared Goff is now coming into his own, signed a big deal in the offseason here to be their franchise quarterback. No more questions there. Solid wide receiver core, electric running backs. But the issue is always, can that defense come up with stops when you need it in big games? Because the defense, particularly the secondary, has been a sieve over the past couple of years. From betting stances, I love it. You're going to talk about a defense that can't stop anybody and an offense that moves the football up and down the field, and they play in a dome. That's going to be fun for player props and totals throughout the season, but not so much for winning playoff games overall. The Eagles do have a lot of question marks, and it's not on offense, similar to what I just talked about with the Detroit Lions. That offense, solid offensive line, the best wide receiving core in football, Saquon Barkley at running back, and Jalen Hurts healthy and ready to show that fluke down the stretch last year actually was a fluke, and they're a much better football team and can do some damage. Now, the next couple of teams are very interesting as we get outside that top four, because I think the Packers, again, at a 9-1 price certainly would be formidable. You have the Cowboys, Falcons, Rams, Bears, Seahawks, and Buccaneers in order. The Rams at a 15-1 price, Matthew Stafford at quarterback, 2 wide receivers that, if healthy, Puka Nacua, who looks like he's going to get to the starting line in week number 1 after suffering a preseason injury, and Cooper Kupp. I love that offense. I think it should cook here. Then you take a look at the Falcons with a new quarterback in Kirk Cousins. I think they'll be fine as well. Give me a team outside of, let's just say, we forget about the Cowboys at 9-1. Let's go over 9-1, so 12-1 or higher. Give me a team that you think can make some noise here in the NFC, Dubsy.
A couple of my biggest investments lean behind the Falcons, but the closer we get to week 1 here, Donnie, I'm losing a bit of confidence. But look, they've got the weapons. If they can figure it out early from the jump, they've got a pretty favorable schedule behind Kirk Cousins there at quarterback. Drake London, there's plenty of upside there. Could it be Justin Jefferson 2.0? Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but they've got the run game to match. I think it is the Rams. You know, Sean McVay can scheme it up with the very best of them on the offensive side of the ball. Kyron Williams now setting the running back duties, also going to be doing the old kick returns. I don't know if that means maybe a dip in production there from the running back, and we see a couple of fresh faces. But if it's not the best 1-2 punch in the league at wide receiver, I mean, what we saw last year from Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who now returns healthy, with Matty Stafford also at a full billing of health, I think the Rams make sense as a bit of a price play. And look, this side of the board, Donnie, is, I believe, a lot murkier. I mean, we haven't even touched on the Dallas Cowboys. I think they've been a little disrespected. The Bucs finished off with a massive campaign. And what about the Cardinals and Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not seeing them here. They're going to be at a big price, but I do think they're going to be an absolute moneymaker going through this year. So give me the Rams as the price play at 15-1.
Yeah, Arizona, give me the overs in their football games. Electric quarterback, not so great defense that usually plays into it. And by the way, the interesting numbers here on that graphic, the Buccaneers at a 35-1. I don't have a lot of confidence in them, obviously, to win the NFC, but if they can overtake, let's just say, the Falcons, and you got them at a 35-1 price entering into the playoffs with home field advantage in game number 1, you saw them take on the Eagles in game number 1 of the playoffs at home, and they fared quite frankly well. Maybe that's a winning ticket here. More football talk. MVPs, they're on deck. Let's go.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
All right. As we said, we are lining up to play week number 1 in the NFL. It starts tomorrow in Kansas City, but other teams are saying, you know what? Great football players deserve a great amount of money. Yes, we're still talking about you, Cincinnati Bengals, and no, we're not saying Jamar Chase just signed a lucrative contract. But you know who did sign one? The Denver Broncos and their 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback, Patrick Surtain II. Get this, Dubsy. 4 years, $96 million, which includes $77.5 million guaranteed. Now, we're going to talk about the MVP race. If you want to stop MVP quarterbacks, make sure you're taking care of the best cornerbacks in the game so they're happy and playing football. Surtain of the Denver Broncos, big-time money this morning.
Big time money and worth every single bit of it. The Alabama product we saw first round pick back there in 2022, and since coming into the league has been nothing short of sensational. So certainly a bright spot over a couple of tiring years for the Denver Broncos. So Sean Payton in this organization saying, hey, this is what our future looks like. Pat Surtain, the big cornerback there, he brings a lot to this side. And I tell you what, when you've got the likes of Bo Nix there at quarterback, they're starting to put a couple of pillars in place, not to just maybe exceed expectations coming into a new year for the Denver Broncos fans, but maybe trying to build something going through the next 4, 5, 6 years. So a lot to like of what's coming out there from Denver through the preseason, and that big news coming across here this morning, the Denver Broncos lock up their guy.
And by the way, talking about resetting the market here, you're looking at the highest paid cornerbacks in football. Patrick Surtain now $24 million per year. Jair Alexander, the Green Bay Packers, at $21 million. So he cleared that hurdle by $3 million. Congrats to him. We'll see if it pays off this year for the Denver Broncos. Talking about paying off, if you have an MVP quarterback in your stable, you're probably going to do a lot of damage. You win a lot of football games. If you head over to the FanDuel Sportsbook and take a look at the favorites this year for the NFL MVP, are we surprised? No, we're not. It's Patrick Mahomes by a wide margin in first place in the odds market at a plus 450 price, followed by Josh Allen at 8-1. And the only other guy under 10-1 is Joe Burrow. Stroud, Hurts, Love, Jackson, Purdy, Tagovailoa, and Prescott round out here. Are we in agreement here that Patrick Mahomes should be the favorite, but also, Dubsy, will he actually win the MVP this year?
No, I don't think he will, Donnie. And look, Patty Mahomes at plus 450. I'm not buying in. And you look at the numbers, the metrics from last season, Patty Mahomes saw a massive decline going through the regular season. So it really wasn't the box score baddie that we expect. I know they went back-to-back. They won another Super Bowl, and they've got a really good chance of winning a third this season. Patrick Mahomes will do enough to keep the Chiefs very close to getting that hat trick. But at plus 450 in the MVP market, I'm not buying that. I'm not touching that. Josh Allen, he's going to have to do a lot more at plus 800. So I'm looking elsewhere, especially for a market, Donnie, where I'm going to have to tie up my dollars all season long. There's no way I'm touching the chalk, the short price favorite, the public pick there in Patty Mahomes, that kind of number.
It's crazy, too, because you are looking at a plus 450 price, which sometimes you'll see him stagger, like plus 450, plus 500, plus 700. But he's so far and clear the favorite here, and rightfully so. We know the great player he is, and they're on a mission to try to win 3 straight Super Bowls, which is incredible and has never been done in history. But if we are looking at some of the players behind him, Josh Allen, he needs to have an MVP season here, right, Dubs? If they want to, the Buffalo Bills want to not only win the division, but make some hay here in the playoffs. And it doesn't seem like he has as many weapons as he had over the past couple years. Joe Burrow, we know how electric he can be, but coming off an injury, and also Jamar Chase, his top wide receiver, not in the fold just yet. We'll see if that harms him. C.J. Stroud, everybody's lightning bolt from last year. He was sensational. He looks great in the preseason. Can he take that next leap, and can the Houston Texans be a player in the AFC race, which will give them that extra credit down the stretch? Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles at a 12-1 price, banged up a little bit last year. The Eagles were 10-1, completely fell off a cliff to end the season with a horrendous loss on Tampa Bay on a Monday Night Football wildcard game. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, and Dak Prescott. If we're looking down the line here, Dak Prescott, we know, is going to put up big numbers. Tua Tagovailoa is in a crazy good offense. He got paid as well as his wide receivers. How about Brock Purdy? Is there a chance that Brock Purdy at 16-1 in your mind here, Dubsy, can win an MVP?
Look, Donnie, I'd love to say yes, but I'm not going to say systems quarterback, but he's arguably got so many pieces around him. He's never going to get the true shine. Even if the 49ers go on to win the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of George Skittles. It's going to be because of Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams. So I'm looking for a buy low spot on a play that's going to have to carry their team to the promised land. I think Dak Prescott makes a bit of sense there at plus 2,000. Lamar Jackson, if he can run it back, he's always going to get the praise, but he's going to have to figure it out at the back end of that season. So Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, they're the price plays for me. But in a market like this, Donnie, I'm staying away from the top of the board.
Dak Prescott, if he wins the MVP, what's his price tag next year? More Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year odds coming up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
Odds markets are crazy, certainly before the season, but wait till you see that instant impact of weeks 1, 2, and 3, where some of these markets will certainly be going crazy. And that includes, Dubsy, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year odds, which usually includes quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, sprinkling a wide receiver and a running back here. If we're looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook and setting the table, it's no surprise. The Chicago Bears' #1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, at a plus 120 price. Jaden Daniels, star play caller here for the Washington Commanders, at a 6-1 price. Then we start to flip in a wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. of the Arizona Cardinals, at a plus 650 price. And rounding out roughly that top, 10-1, 11-1 prices, Bo Nix of the Denver Broncos, who's now going to be the starting quarterback to open the season. So let's start there with the top four. Again, Caleb Williams is the favorite right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook to win this award at a plus 120 price. Do you agree with that? And also, give me some thoughts on Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, and Bo Nix rounding out the top four.
I mean, we have to agree with it, right? What could go wrong for Caleb Williams, Heisman winner 2 years back with USC, coming in to a Chicago Bears locker room, getting every single piece that he needs to thrive in day one? I would say that number's too short. The buzz is far too high, and it only makes sense to be a letdown spot, Donnie. So I'm absolutely looking at playing the field here against Caleb Williams. Look, he's very athletic. He's looked great going through the preseason, but week one of the regular season, this is a whole nother step up in terms of what is going to be coming at him, how much quicker he has to be in the pocket. He's shown us there at the college level. He's great at getting out of the backfield, doing his own thing, but that's not going to fare so well in the National Football League. It's a totally different play style. So for me, I may be one of the only people here going against Caleb Williams, but especially at that price, I think it's far too short. For Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, look, he looks fantastic. He's got the athleticism, he's got the arm, and they're going to be playing catch-up week in, week out. He's also got a bit of a veteran presence in that locker room, so they're going to bring him up to speed really quickly, and I think he's got every chance to shine. So I absolutely love the look there of Jaden Daniels. And Kyler Murray coming back for the Cardinals, I think this sets up really well for Marvin Harrison Jr. You look at the last 4 winners of the Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's been 2 wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson. Well, you want that X factor. You want that pizzazz. And for Marvin Harrison, he's going to get that. He's got a quarterback who can get it downfield, and he will be wide receiver 1 straight out the gates here for a Cardinals team that's also probably similar to the Commanders, going to be down in a lot of these spots, putting up a lot of points. If you look at the stats, if you look at the box scores, Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 650, I think he's going to see a lot of attention from the bettors. So for me, it's a play against Caleb Williams. I like Jaden Daniels at 6-1, and absolutely love Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 650.
Yeah, a lot of it there, Dubs, you're right, is just about availability at the end of football games to put up extra numbers, because we know Caleb Williams is going to be the starting quarterback in week 1, and quite frankly, we think right through week 18 of the regular season. He's got an elite wide receiving core. His numbers should be there. But if we're looking at Jaden Daniels, similar. We should have some good rushing numbers for him, and he's the starting quarterback from day number 1. But that Marvin Harrison Jr. number is interesting to me at the plus 650 as well, because you're right. If I told you already, I think the offense for the Arizona Cardinals is going to move the football. You know who else is going to move the football? Every team playing the Arizona Cardinals. So if you're getting in shootouts, that usually means good numbers for your quarterback and also your wide receivers. One of the more interesting numbers here, if we take a look at the top 4, Williams, Daniels, Harrison, and also Nix. Okay, starters, day number 1, we get that. But Drake May, not listed as the week 1 starter for the New England Patriots, was still coming in 5th overall in the odds market at a 14-1 price. We know Jacoby Brissett here, Dubs, is just a table setter right now, holding on until they figure Drake May is ready to play NFL football. Quite frankly, the New England Patriots are already knocked out of the playoffs. But as we saw with Paul Skeens in Major League Baseball, let's just say he comes in and lights it up, but he doesn't come into week 8 when these other guys have been playing for the first 8 weeks. So Drake May at 14-1, it's an interesting number, but I'm not buying into it.
No, I'm not touching it. And taking a look, at this market, you need production. You've got to be out there for a bulk of the starts going through the regular season. And it's not a knock against Drake May, but if he were to come in, week 5, week 6 after Jacoby Brissett, what's he working with? What is he going to use to turn that ship around for the New England Patriots? He's got absolutely no offensive weapons. There's no run game. They're going to get behind. He's going to get beat up. So he would have to do something, absolutely ridiculous to get himself back in the conversation here, because all of these players listed above him here in the odds market are going to have every chance to get more reps and see more production. So look, Drake may be in that number. If you're looking for another quarterback, a young player who could really shine, it's got to be out of the Denver Broncos. I mean, we're sleeping on the Broncos like they didn't have the best of seasons last year. They still chalked up 8 wins. It's Bo Nix. It looks like Drew Brees 2.0. Sean Payton has absolutely got his guy, and the Denver Broncos are going to be a very tough out. So at 11-1, I'd be looking more towards Bo Nix. You can even look at him to be leading passing yards out of the rookies here. If Caleb, I hate to say it, but injury is always going to be a big thing, the way he plays in trying to scramble out of that backfield. And there's a lot of guys who love going after a number 1 draft pick. If he were to miss a bit of time, if he weren't to be that superstar that we think we're going to get from the Chicago Bears, I'd be looking further down that odds board. It'd be a fade pass towards Drake May for me. But Bo Nix, who we know is going to be out there week 1, who plays it in a very smart way, very sharp in the pocket, can absolutely protect himself, and he looks built for the NFL. He looks pro ready. If you ask me, that's a name I would absolutely be targeting. So look, hate to be that guy playing against Caleb Williams, but a lot can go wrong, Donnie. It feels like the hype, the buzz, the praise is far too much, and I want to see something before I rush to that window and play plus 120 for a futures bet on a quarterback who I think still has to show us a bit.
After the top 5 in the odds market here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, it turns into attack of the pass catchers. Why? Malik Neighbors at a 15-1 price. Xavier Worthy at a 19-1 price. Ladd McConkey 37-1, along with Keon Coleman at the same price. And then Brock Bowers, the tight end here of the Raiders, at a 42-1. If we are looking, because obviously I think we're in agreement, Marvin Harrison Jr. to me was the best wide receiver in the draft, drafted appropriately here. I think he's going to be a superstar for the Cardinals. But if you had to pick, and not saying they're going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, who would it be? Neighbors, Worthy, McConkey, Coleman, or Bowers? Out of that grouping here, who do you think actually has the best season here, Dubsy?
I think Xavier Worthy's a great addition for the Kansas City Chiefs, but the problem is Patty Mahomes is going to spread it across the park. You know, you still got Rashee Rice, you still got Travis Kelce as his favorite target. I'd be looking towards Malik Neighbors in the Giants. Danny Dimes did not shine going through the preseason, but I'm still optimistic that Daniel Jones can be a very efficient quarterback in the National Football League. For Malik Neighbors, we've heard the version, it's 2.0, Odell Beckham Jr. He can do special things. He can make special plays. He's already going to be that one week one. So he's going to see a lot of targets for a Giants team. And I feel like this is the common theme for me with a lot of my futures tickets, trends, and leans. They're going to be playing catch-up football. They're going to have to air it out. Malik Neighbors, I think he's going to be very, very well set to see some monster numbers from week one. He looks durable, so I think we see a bit of longevity out of him there as well. So in terms of the wideouts, it's Malik Neighbors for me. I think he could be a pretty special talent coming in day one.
Yeah, for me with Malik Neighbors, his talent is off the Richter scale. I mean, he is such a good wide receiver in all his intangibles, but I do think he went to like the worst situation of the rookies, because if you tell me, hey, Donnie, Malik Neighbors went to Arizona, hey, look at that. Kyler Murray's going to be his quarterback. They're going to be losing football games, not playing a ground and pound style and trying to run the clock out, and you're trying to actually get yards. I think it would work out. Obviously, if you switch place with Xavier Worthy and wound up as a wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes, same thing with the Chargers and Herbert. The Buffalo Bills got Keon Coleman. You replace Keon Coleman with Malik Neighbors. I'm thinking now Rookie of the Year certainly could be in the bag for Malik Neighbors. But that 15-1 price, you're right. He can have an impact on that team because why? They don't have very many other weapons. Like if you're looking at the Giants and don't think they're going to be a great football team, which I don't think they will be, which means once again, Dubsy, they'll be down in the second half of games. He's that type of football player. Just blindly throw it in his direction. He's going to make plays, and that could add up. But I do think he already has like basically one strike starting on his rookie season because Daniel Jones, to me, is his quarterback. We'll see how it plays out throughout the majority of the regular season, but certainly a fun market all the way through, which leads Caleb Williams by far at a plus 120 price. We're anointing him as the next great one, and so is the FanDuel Sportsbook and the odds market saying he should walk to that Rookie of the Year trophy. We'll see if that happens. NFL Offensive Player of the Year odds. We'll talk about those next and much more right here on the Early Line.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's like it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
With all this NFL talk, you have to be getting excited for opening night, which takes place tomorrow at Arrowhead Stadium. The Kansas City Chiefs going to take on the Baltimore Ravens, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. But before we get there, we have to get you prepared to get there as we continue to look at some of these great markets at the FanDuel Sportsbook, which this one now includes the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, which always makes me laugh a little bit, Dubs, because as you see the people that are listed here, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, you go, wait a second. Aren't quarterbacks offensive players too? So theoretically, when the MVP is a quarterback, but he is not the best offensive player of the year, always brings a smile to my face. But in this marketplace, the wide receivers do reign king typically. Tyreek Hill at a plus 750 price is the leader for the Miami Dolphins. Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers at a plus 950 price, followed by CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Bijan Robinson. It's a great market that is a little bit quirky, but again, the same question still prevails. Do we agree that Tyreek Hill, Dubs, should be the favorite in the clubhouse to start the season?
Yeah, we do, Donnie. And this is one of the short price futures that I would absolutely take. Offensive Player of the Year, the Cheetah at plus 650. We know he's going to put up monster numbers. He's got speed in bunches. I don't see any kind of drop-off there. I think Tua's going to be even more efficient. It's his number one target. You've got Waddle running down the other sideline, so he takes a bit of attention away. The run game is going to be there as well to set the table. So Tyreek Hill now plus 750. I think it's a really good price. You look at the second choice, CMC, Christian McCaffrey, the star running back, wide receiver, whatever you want to call the Swiss Army knife of football. He's going to be there getting the numbers, but he's in a much more volatile position at running back where he is going to get banged up. It's very physical. He could see a bit of time on the sidelines the further we get into the back end of the year. For Tyreek Hill, the Cheetah, playing in fair weather, I think he's going to be fantastic. So plus 750. Yes, Donnie, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm taking the first choice off the board at a decent number.
Yeah, we're expecting a big season out of Tyreek Hill. I mean, come on now. Guy just got paid. Waddle got paid. Tua got paid. The offensive coordinator / head coach, he got paid and also got an extension. So the vibes are certainly high down on South Beach for a big offensive season. But it is interesting that we take a look at Christian McCaffrey at that plus 950 price because lucky's not the right word. He's a great player, and I know you can't lean on injuries, but we've known in the past Christian McCaffrey to have some injury concerns. You saw last year in one of the last games that they played in the regular season, he came down with that calf injury. But since the Philadelphia Eagles had dropped the game to the lowly Arizona Cardinals, that gave him extra time to heal up for the playoffs, and he was great through the playoff run. But now we see to start the season, Dubs, already that calf injury, which kept him out for most of the preseason, they're saying he should be fine for game number 1 on Monday night against the Jets, but it's never good to start the season technically already banged up here. CeeDee Lamb, 11-1 price, got that monster contract from the Dallas Cowboys. He had a phenomenal season last year. You know he's going to be in the top 5 with at least, receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns as long as he's healthy, followed by Jamar Chase at a 12-1 price. So we're looking at 2 wide receivers. One got paid and is in the fold. The other one is looking to get paid. And then there's Justin Jefferson, who reset the markets all time for wide receivers at 12-1. Let me ask you this question. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. In your mind, out of those 3, who has the better season this year?
Oh, okay. Jamar Chase, question marks. Is he happy? Is he going to get paid? Justin Jefferson, I think we see a massive drop-off there. No Kirk Cousins. It's going to take a couple of growing pains to figure this out. And for CeeDee Lamb, I'd say CeeDee Lamb. I like in CeeDee Lamb at 11-1, but that's not my number one wide receiver if I'm looking outside the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill. I think the value, the price play on this board for Offensive Player of the Year, it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. I mean, he was second in receptions last season, so he's going to get plenty of targets, plenty of looks. He's got great hands on him. He went over 1,500 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, so he's got that wow factor as well. And by all reports, he's an absolute locker room guy. The team love playing with him. They love playing for him. So I'm on Russ St. Brown. I'm playing the quarterback here as well, Jared Goff, who I think is coming into his prime years in the National Football League. That's the price play for me if I was to look outside of Tyreek Hill at plus 750. It's got to be Amon-Ra St. Brown at a nice little number.
Also market all the way through is, again, Tyreek Hill, who is the favorite right now to be NFL Offensive Player of the Year, used to play in Kansas City. The MVP in the market right now, plus 450 price. Patrick Mahomes is in Kansas City, along with Travis Kelce. The reason we're bringing up Travis Kelce is The man is 35 years old. They give him a boatload of money in the offseason, and rightfully so. When we talk about quarterbacks that can still be in their prime at 35, it makes some sense. We see quarterbacks play well into their late 30s and play effectively here. But for a skill position player, that's an anomaly here. So the question marks now come up with Kansas City. Should they be putting Travis Kelce on a pitch count? He disagrees, as just about every player would disagree and say, no. Put me out there. Let me run. I'm healthy. I still think I can play. No pitch count. I don't care. It's not going to happen. So when we take a look at the season props for Kelce, 79.5 receptions, reception yards, 830. You take a look at touchdowns, 6.5. So the buy or sell question that we have for you today, Dubsy, is this going to be Travis Kelce's final NFL season?
Yes. This will be Travis Kelce's final season in the NFL before he goes and hits the recording booth with Taylor Swift. I mean, he just signed, $100 million for his podcast with a brother. What motivation is there to go out and continue to get banged up? They're looking for the trifecta, the hat trick, in search of another Lombardi. I think they've got a really good chance, but nothing gets easier at 35 years of age. He turns 35 coming up in October here for year 12. They've already got Jared Wiley out of TCU. I think that's going to be the next tight end in line there. And if I was to look at some of those props, it's going to be the unders in touchdowns here. The book's got him set at 6.5. He had 5 last year. You look at some of the other weapons. Isaiah Pacheco, he's only getting stronger with that run game. I think Xavier Worthy's going to see a bit more attention here. So for Travis Kelce, I don't think we see a pitch count. I do think we see him for the final year in the National Football League before he goes off to enjoy the spoils of a podcast and having a misses like Taylor Swift.
Dubsy, there was a time in the NFL where the players would play their 16, 14-game schedule in the offseason, lay concrete, build houses, do construction, and sell cars. Obviously, most players are paid handsomely, but the careers are typically short. Travis Kelce's had a nice long career, has made a ton of money, but you're right about this. Like, if he retires today, he has a podcast that him and his brother are going to split $50 million apiece. And who knows in 3 to 4 years, if it's even popular at that point, they get another $100 million. And also, yes, having your girlfriend, maybe fiance, maybe future wife, being a billionaire, sometimes you take a look and say, you know what? Do I need to keep on beating my head against a brick wall and play NFL football? Maybe not. More buy or sell up next, right here on the Early Line, Wednesday morning edition.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Last segment of hour number 2 here on the Early Line on a Wednesday morning edition. It's Dubsy, it's Donnie, and we are hitting the hot topics, which includes buy or sell segment number 2, which we just talked about Travis Kelce. Maybe the best tight end could be in the history of professional football. A lot of accolades, a lot of first-team All-Pros, Pro Bowls that he's made, Super Bowl championships, trying to win 3 in a row this year and making a ton of money doing it. Will it be his last year? We'll find out. But how about his brother, Jason Kelce? Maybe one of the best centers, if not the best center of all time in the NFL. A 7-time Pro Bowler, 6 times first-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, and 13 seasons in the NFL, all with the Philadelphia Eagles. As you saw, there was a lot of hubbub from the league office and the press and other teams. It's unfair. The tush-push, the Eagles do it so well. We can't do it. You got to take it out. Well, granted, the NFL goes, well, everybody can do it. And no, it's not a dangerous play, so it's going to continue. But the question is now, Jason Kelce basically was the originator at center for the tush-push. If it continues, Dubsy, will it be as effective in Philadelphia, buy or sell?
Absolutely not. I'm selling on this one. The tush-push has no chance of being as effective without Jason Kelce. What do we got? Cam Jurgens coming across. It's a new locker, new position. It took 193 games for Kelce to perfect this move. Things are going to look a lot differently. No doubt they're going to try, but surely every other team in the National Football League have figured out how this works for the Eagles, and I don't think this one's going to fly. So I'm selling on this one, Donnie. The Eagles, they're going to have to scheme up a couple of new tricks, if you will, and for Cam Jurgens, there may be a couple of growing pains in trying to match the efforts of one of the great Eagles who was doing it all before him.
Also, Dubsy, you paid a lot of money for your new superstar running back, Saquon Barkley, who you know how he likes to get rewarded on the 1-yard line. Give me the football. Let me score some touchdowns. And also from a Jalen Hurts perspective, like, you know what? I'll hand it off. I don't have to go through that beating I might take up the middle. So some interesting thoughts behind that. We'll find out again Friday night if that tush-push is as powerful as it's been in the past. Let's keep moving forward. And why not talk a little Tom Brady? Look, he's not playing right now in the NFL, but he's going to be calling games for the NFL. Here's the issue I have that we're going to get to in buy and sell. And if anybody's seen any of these stories, Tom Brady did buy into the Raiders, and it was approved. But now that he's in the broadcast booth, here's what used to take place. If anybody's ever known about these meetings or knows what goes down, typically you get to talk with the head coach, whether it's college football or pro football. They're going to give you pointers on what to watch. And it's confidentiality that says, look, I'm going to tell you, we might go for it, Dubsy, on a 4th down punt here somewhere in the second half. So the announcers would be prepared, and it adds to a better game day experience by letting the announcers know what you typically might be doing during that game. Well, Tom Brady now has NFL restrictions on him since he's a team owner. He can't attend the team's practice facility by saying, okay, I'm going to do the Monday night football game. Let me fly in on a Thursday and catch up with the coaches and the team here to see how things are. You can't go to practices. You can't go to production meetings in the NFL, which is ridiculous. But again, Tom Brady's a superstar. I'm sure he'll get by, but that insider information that he's not going to get, it's kind of interesting how it plays out. So bringing up the next topic here is Tom Brady is always ready to play football again. Buy or sell, Tom Brady will play football for the Raiders this season.
Tom Brady's got a better chance of becoming a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you ask me, Donnie. Absolutely no. 47 years of age. He's already had enough, I guess, off-season work, if you will. But what are Fox thinking? A 10-year contract at $375 million. They're not paying him to be quarterback. They're paying him to give us the best viewing experience, the very best analysis. And suddenly, with everything going on there with the Raiders, Brady's not going to have the best chance to do that. So they got to be sitting back saying, hey, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I think he's going to have to make up a decision here, either or the NFL are going to make it for him.
He's had a wild career, man. Obviously, all that success and accolades in New England. Then he goes down to Tampa Bay and wins a Super Bowl for them. Then it turns out maybe he wanted to go to the Miami Dolphins, got coaches fired, got an NFL investigation. Now he shows up as he wants to buy into the Raiders. It's finally approved. Now does he want to play for a team that he actually is part ownership of? And also, the last time we did see Tom Brady, it wasn't winning championships in the NFL. It was he looks real slow in the pocket out there. 47. I'm going to be 47 years old. How the heck can you play even stickball out front of your house or sandlot football, let alone NFL football? The man has done it all. But now, yes, You're getting paid a lot of money. Sit in the booth, call the game, have fun here, retire in style, and just kick back and relax. But it's Tom Brady. Who knows? And maybe he could show up on the sideline as a Raider. It'd be crazy to watch it play out, but sometimes things just need to be left alone, Tom. Enjoy your retirement. Hour number 3 coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on SiriusXM Channel 159.